right, we're back. Can you hear me over there? Does that sound all right? Is this thing on?
Sounds pretty good.
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on?
I don't know. Is this thing on? Is anyone paying attention? I don't know. Is anyone paying attention out there? That is the big question. And I suppose we're going to find that out, at least to a small extent, on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. It's Election Day, midterm election day here in the United States of America.
I thought Tuesday was football day.
No, I think Tuesday is the only day of the week that there's not an NFL game on.
Oh, well, good. Then there's no excuse.
Maybe Tuesday and
there
Saturday.
Would be anyway, but
yeah, I don't. You want me to get into that? You want me to go off on the whole like everyday football day thing? No? Okay.
Every day, no days off?
Oh, you shut up. Oh, but anyway, welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio. I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and the voice you heard on the other side of the glass there, that was Jared, my studio engineer, my producer, the man behind the curtain, literally, with his professional studio engineer headphones on and his new glasses, looking all important and studious.
Well, I'm glad I look important, because I kind of am.
Well, if you're going to be impotent, you want to look impotent, and that's you.
Yeah.
So, and he's actually drinking his coffee out of his Blackwater coffee cup, or is that my Blackwater coffee cup?
Well, it's mine at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And I like what it says on it. I think I said this before on the radio, but that was a while ago. It says, train hard or don't train at all. And I believe in that.
You mean I shouldn't just train until I feel uncomfortable and then stop?
I mean, if you want to be part of the vagination, then
isn't that what you do? You do something until it becomes uncomfortable, and then the moment it becomes uncomfortable, you just stop. That's how you grow muscles, right?
Yeah.
Is remaining comfortable.
That's why lazy people have such big muscles.
Oh. What do you want to talk about, Jared? Do you want to talk about black rifles? You want to talk about green lube? What do you want to talk about?
I was thinking about
black rifles.
That's the toy I'm working on.
The toy you're working on.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. Attention, AR-15 owners. We want to make sure that you guys are aware, just in case you haven't caught up yet, that we have a new sponsor here at Student of the Gun Radio, and the name of the sponsor is Velocity Triggers. And you can check out their drop-in triggers. That's right. We mean drop in like I'm just going to drop it like it's hot. Yeah, you want to drop it like it's hot right there into your AR-15 lower receiver. It is a single component match grade trigger that you can install at your own workbench or tabletop, or do it at your kitchen table if your wife will let you. But check those guys out. Go to velocitytriggers.com. You won't regret it. If you're a black rifle owner, if you're into shooting the stoner designs there, you want to check that out. And make sure if you're a Facebook guy or gal that you're giving our guys over there at Velocity Triggers some love. When you go to velocitytriggers.com, up there in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little Facebook button. Just click on it and give them a like. Let them know that you guys are paying attention out there. We know that you appreciate our sponsors. We appreciate our sponsors because they make it so that we can sit here every week and talk to you folks. Now, don't forget about Brownells. If you're looking for black rifle components or any other components, if you own a gun, Brownells has something for you. Colt at Colt.com, the makers of the LE901. And I know we promised you that we would have some LE901 news. We don't have it yet. Here's the news. The news is the order has been sent to the factory, and the factory needs to ship me the gun. That's the news. So that's the news as it stands right now. So hopefully by the time we get on the radio next week, we'll have the new gun in hand. SWAT Fuel, and it's getting chilly. Is it not, Jared?
It is definitely getting chilly.
And even here on the Gulf Coast, which is basically subtropic weather, it got down into the upper 30s last night, didn't it? Because it was 41 at 8 o'clock this morning. So I've got to believe at 5 a.m. it was way less than 41 degrees.
Yeah, I had a long day yesterday of moving stuff. I got up about, 6 o'clock yesterday morning, SWAT fueled up, and I only SWAT fueled once yesterday.
Oh, good.
And I was up until about midnight last night getting stuff ready. I laid down in my bed finally after the long day, and the sheets were freezing cold. There's nothing worse than that. You're like, oh, I'm going to lay down in my comfortable bed after this long
it's
day.
nice if they're cold and it's hot outside.
Yeah, but that's not the case.
That wasn't the case. Well, the reason I bring it up when we were talking about SWAT fuel is because we're moving into that time of the year. We just had the end of daylight savings time, so now we're on standard time, which means what? Which means it gets dark earlier. And you get into that winter doldrums thing. Everybody does. Every single year people do. It's dark by 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and the nights are longer. And you spend more time inside, what? Sitting on a couch, sitting on in your easy chair, huddled up eating popcorn or snack food or what have you. And we get lethargic. You get that winter, you pack on those winter pounds, not because you're a bear and you need it to keep yourself warm, but because you're not exercising, you're not outside, you're not moving around like you should, you know it, and you're just sitting around eating. And that is, like I said, that's cool if you're a bear or a squirrel or what have you, and you need that extra fat layer to keep yourself warm. But I don't really think that's the case for most of America. And all you need to do really is be conscious of it and realize it. What is it, Jared? It's accepting it or realizing it is half the battle. Admitting it is half the battle.
Admission? So do you need tickets or what?
That's how you, when you're an alcoholic and you want to recover, the first thing you have to do is you have to admit you're an alcoholic. But anyway, so SWAT fuel going into the fall, going into the winter. I mean, for most of you in the great Northeast area and the Northwest and the Midwest, you're already into fall. That's for sure. And now you're starting to get cold, chilly. Put on extra layers, and so think about it as you move into the fall here. Think, am I going to be lazy and lethargic for the next 4 or 5 months, or am I actually going to stay active?
When it gets cold, people wear jackets. And when people wear jackets, it gives you something to grab onto if you need to defend yourself. So instead of being lazy during the wintertime, you could go take a judo class or something, jiu-jitsu, and learn how to manipulate people with their jackets.
That's right. And you want to go to SWATfuel.com, too.
Yeah, you take the SWAT fuel with you to the class, and then
That's right.
people will be like, where did this guy come from?
Go to SWATfuel.com, check those guys out, and when you make a purchase, make sure you put in the special Student of the Gun promo code, SOTG2014.
Now, speaking of, before we get into the good guy thing, speaking of SWAT fuel and fighting and stuff, we had some questions about our new T-shirt. If you guys haven't seen it yet, we came out with a new shirt. It's the Fight You shirt, and the front of it says "Fighting solves everything." And we had a couple questions about if you wear that shirt and you have to defend yourself, will you be looked at differently when the authorities arrive? And they want to get your opinion on that.
They want my opinion on that?
Well, maybe they want mine too, but
okay.
They probably really don't want mine.
Well, here's the deal. If you want to be the gray man, if you want to be the vanilla man, if you want to be the chameleon, rock on. Go through. Jared, how does a chameleon survive in the wild?
By hiding.
By hiding. Okay. How does a rhinoceros survive in the wild?
Obviously not by hiding.
By trampling everything it gets in front of it.
Yeah.
What is feared in the wild, the chameleon or the rhinoceros?
The rhinoceros.
Exactly. Folks, let me tell you what. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is my advice from Professor Paul. I wrote an article about the failed strategy of defense. I don't know how long ago I wrote it. And a lot of people out there didn't get it. They just totally missed it. Here's the point. Defense, or what do I want to say? Cover. If you're a student of the gun, or if you're a shooter, if you've ever been, or a military person, you know that cover is used as defense, right? But all cover is temporary, because eventually a determined adversary is either going to break down your cover or they're going to circumvent it, they're going to go around your cover. the greatest boxers in the world, whoever your favorite boxer was, Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard or let's just say Leon Spinks. Nobody knows who Leon Spinks is anymore. George Foreman, what have you. It doesn't matter how good. Go ahead.
You mean the grill guy boxed?
Yeah. The George Foreman actually was a boxer. He didn't just make grills.
But, you got to keep him lean.
Yes, keep lean. That's right. And all his boys are named George. But anyway, the greatest boxers in the world, it doesn't matter how good their guard is. Eventually, if all they do is stand there and guard or move around with a guard position up, even a mediocre boxer is going to land a hit on them. They have to throw a punch once in a while. Same thing with a football team. Your favorite football team could have the best defense in the NFL. They've got the greatest defense in the NFL. But eventually you got to score some points, right? You can't stay on defense all the time. Well, that's what we are as pro-Constitution, as pro-Second Amendment people, as freedom-loving people in the United States. We're constantly on defense. Constantly. And we are in a defensive mindset. We've convinced ourselves that being on the offense, being bold, being outspoken is rude or it's wrong or people won't like us if we go out and say what we believe in. So what do? We write articles for each other about how don't ever let anyone know you own guns. Don't post pictures of guns on your Facebook page. Don't wear shirts, T-shirts, hats, caps, jackets that they have the names of gun companies on them. Don't ever let anybody know that you're a pro-gun person, a pro-Constitution person. Don't hide that because it's dangerous. And so what are we? Well, we may be really good at being chameleons, but guess what? The chameleon doesn't rule the jungle. The chameleon doesn't rule the forest. The chameleon just hides until a sharp owl or bird or snake finds him and eats him. Go ahead, Jared. You got something on your mind?
Yeah,
Say it.
It reminded me of when I was talking to somebody, I don't remember who it was, but they were asking me about that Walmart thing where the two people went into Walmart in Vegas a while back. And I told them, somewhere along the lines, I told them that the most important thing is in a firefight is not getting shot, not shooting the other person.
Yeah.
And they said, well, so I've been taught my whole life not to hide, and then now you're telling me to hide. And I was like, well, I wasn't ready for that specific question.
Well,
I was like, my mind was kind of blown. I was like, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to hide.
No, we're talking about using cover and so forth.
Yeah.
But all cover is temporary. And, you say, well, if the most important thing in a gun, and I know people misunderstand that. People, it amazes me, Jared, it amazes me the lengths that people will go out of their way to miss the point. Really. People will go so far out of their way to miss the point. And if this is the first time you've ever thought about this particular instance or discussion or what have you, you need to actually think, consider, read, educate yourself, get experience to understand it. But I'm telling you this, folks, you look out across the landscape and you're frustrated, you're like, I'm pro-Second Amendment. You know what? I am too. I'm pro-United States Constitution. I'm pro-Bill of Rights. But why do you think it is that we as the self-appointed good guys, as the good guys, why are we constantly on the defense? Why are we constantly worried that we're going to lose this battle, lose that battle? Why are we constantly worried about that? Why do you fret? Why do your friends run out in panic and snatch up all the .22 ammo they can get every time Feinstein or Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or any of these turds, and every time they fart, your friends run out and buy stuff in a panic? Why is that? Why do you need to panic? Why do you think that we're that close to destruction every time? Well, it's because we're playing the defensive game. And you say, well, what does that have to do with T-shirts? Well, I'll tell you what that has to do with T-shirts. It has to do with the mentality. Everything you do, everything you buy, everything you own, every place you go is based upon your decisions, your mental decisions, and your mindset. And if your mindset is defensive, I need to never let anyone know I own guns. I need to make sure I don't ever wear any gun-related apparel. No Remington shirts, no Winchester hats, certainly no pro-Second Amendment hats or shirts or jackets, because I don't want anyone to know. I don't want that problem. I don't want that issue. Why? Why do you feel that you're in the minority? Shouldn't you be in the majority? I don't know. Do you like being on the defensive constantly? People talk about the Republican Party, and the establishment Republican Party in Washington, D.C. is basically a large disappointment to us all. They're in the status, they're part of the status quo thing. They're part of this ruling class. But why, even when they're handed the opportunity, when you guys out there give them the opportunity for victory, do they act like losers? Why do they always act like they're going to lose next time out?
Because if they go over the mercy rule, then they get chastised.
Yeah, that's right. That's because of the mercy rule. No, it's because of this mentality. It's because of this defensive mentality. It's okay for me to put my hands up and hide. It's the whole duck and cover or hide or shelter in place. It's the whole shelter in place mentality. Don't do anything to save or preserve your own life. Just hide. Well, eventually, you can't hide. Eventually, you're going to run out of places to hide. Eventually, you're going to be confronted with evil, and you're either going to have to deal with that evil or that evil is going to destroy you. And making the decision to hide, be the chameleon, whatever, it'll work for a little while, but it isn't working for this nation right now. And it's time to stop hiding.
The longer you hide, the more empowered your enemy becomes.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so the whole thing was stemmed from the Fighting Solves Everything t-shirt. If you can hear my voice right now, I created a coupon code for you in the store. It's a brand new product. We were going to take it down immediately after the Halloween. After this, I guess Halloween was Friday, huh?
Yep.
It's been such a busy week. We were going to take it down right after Halloween, but the requests were so popular, we're going to leave it up for another, probably till Wednesday. I'll do it till Friday because some people don't listen till later in the week. It'll be up until Friday. What is that? November 7th?
7th.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's the 7th because
the first Friday of November.
Class.
And let's do the coupon code is going to be Radio 10. That's RADIO 10. Go to studentofthegungear.com, click on the new Fighting Solves Everything shirt, and you can order yours and get 10% off. And Dad mentioned the failed strategy of defense article that he wrote. I'll put up a link to that in the show notes so you guys can look at it. It's actually a pretty good article, believe it or not.
Well, believe it or not, I know it's amazing. Jared, why don't you go ahead and let's jump into the Excess Sites Good Guy of the Week.
All right, the Excess Sites Good Guy of the Week. Before I get into it, I need you. The winner this week is Jingo from the forum. I need you to send me your address, your phone number, your shirt size, and if you could include your email in there for me, just type it in. That'd be great. It's easier for me. Jingo says,
where do you want him to send it to?
Oh, Jared, JARRAD at studentofthegun.com. I think I had too much SWAT Fuel and coffee this morning. Jingo says, there are many thousands of people who suffer serious chronic pain that requires daily narcotic medications to manage. I can't talk today. Look at that. Keeping in mind that any intoxication effects are minimal after a few months of treatments, what are the risks in concealed carrying for these people, and what would you recommend they do?
Well, that's a good question. Number one, if you're taking any kind of prescription medication, before you do anything, well, not just gun-related, chainsaws, power tools, operating heavy equipment, driving, and so forth, you need to figure out, how is it going to affect you mentally and physically. And it's not just physically, but it's mentally as well. It's how does it affect your ability to make decisions, and that's a big thing. One of the Massad Ayoob said years ago, there are certain times when you need to put the guns away, and there was very few of those. But one of them was, he said, when you have a high fever. And I'm sure everybody in the audience at least once has been sick, had the flu or what have you, and had a high fever, and got to that point where you thought the dog was trying to talk to you or what have you. And that is not when you need to have a gun in your hand, because you need to be able to think with a gun in your hand. You need to be able to make good decisions. And the question comes down to is, whatever you're taking, number one, has your physician told you, look, don't drive, don't operate heavy machinery, don't use power tools, don't do anything like that. And it's not because you physically can't do it, it's because you're slow mentally. And that is the big question mark. Can you manage yourself safely, or are you in a mental fog? And that's the big thing, whether it's from alcohol or narcotics or what have you, are you in a mental fog? Now, that being said, is it illegal for someone who's taking prescription medicine to use a firearm to defend themselves? Not necessarily. However, when you purchase a firearm, when you fill out the 4473, there's a question on there about whether you're a habitual or chronic user of narcotics. Now, I don't have the sheet in front of me right now, but what I'm going to tell you is it's up to you to be number one, responsible, and because whether you're on narcotics or just taking Flintstones vitamins, if you have a bad shoot because you made a bad decision, you're responsible 100%. You're 100% responsible for every place your bullets go. But on the other hand, you say, well, do I go around disarmed, totally helpless, or not? Well, I'm going to ask you this. Are you the only person in your family and group of friends that carries a gun? Yes or no? If you are, I guess you're it. That's the great thing about being amongst free men, is you don't have to be the only one who's responsible for the safety of the group. When I go out, generally there's at least 2 or 3 gun carriers there. If we were confronted, would you rather have one person who's carrying a gun, maybe, or 3 or 4? I think I'd rather have 3 or 4. And is it possible that you could rely upon your spouse or friends or what have you to be the gun carriers while you're figuring out how these narcotics are going to affect you, how this prescription medication is going to affect you? And I think that's a position you want to be in. But yeah, if you're new to whatever prescription meds, you need to, before you strap a gun on, before you put a gun in your hand, you need to check yourself, and you need to know whether or not it's going to affect you mentally, if it's going to affect your ability to make good decisions, because that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to making good decisions. So I hope that helped you out a little bit. And Jared, what do you think? Is that pretty much what we were hoping to get out of that?
Yeah, I think so. I'm guessing that Jingo got the answer that he was looking for there.
Okay. Now the next story we've got coming up. This is well, Jared's he's gonna cue it up because it is a public school slave state type of dealio, and it's a. How many of these did we get, Jared? We probably got 10, 12, 15 messages with this story referenced in it. So go ahead and give us the public school public school psychological terrorism update. All right. Now, folks, last week, was it Jared, was it during the bonus hour that we talked about the whole Facebook dealio, and people were like, see, that's why you should never be on Facebook, or was it during the public hour?
I don't remember.
I can't recall. But basically, we had a situation where, I know what it was. It was the whole "this is why I don't use Facebook" thing, because someone will see pictures of you on Facebook and then they will, judge you or whatever. Folks, we get back to that whole hiding thing, and this story here. It came out. Let me see. I've got several, but the first thing we got a just a note that says, "Hey, this is up on Facebook," and we're like, "Okay, cool, it's up on Facebook, but I'm not going to do an entire story on the radio show just because something's on Facebook. Because let's face it, you and I could tomorrow go out and put anything out on Facebook. I could, I saw Bigfoot last night in my backyard, and are we going to do a story about me seeing Bigfoot because I put it up on Facebook? No, we're not going to do that. So we waited, and I actually, the first person that sent me the story, I was like, well, dude, do we have an actual news link? Well, it didn't take very long. As a matter of fact, it took what, Jared? Maybe a day, something like that, before the news broke. And they sent actual reporters out to talk to these kids. Now, this is the story. And let me, as my computer is flopping all around here, my monitor, it says, Massachusetts students suspended over controversial photos. And you're like, oh, what did these kids do? I don't know. I need to find out. Says a picture was taken before a homecoming dance and school officials were not pleased. Okay, well, what is that? Says a picture posted to Facebook is stirring up controversy at a Massachusetts high school after two high school sweethearts posed with large airsoft guns before their homecoming dance last week. We took them with the airsoft guns because it's our hobby and we wanted to include them, said now suspended Bristol Plymouth Regional Technical School student Jamie Pereira. The guns only shoot plastic pellets. Here we go again. Hey, Jared, does there seem to be a psychological terrorism theme going on here throughout the world that now all of a sudden we're afraid of airsoft guns? We're going to seize I wonder if they seized these and shipped them off to the RCMP so they could test them and find out if they're real firearms.
See, when we talked about the RCMP thing, that was in Canada.
Yeah, I know.
This is in America. This is happening in the United States. Well, granted, it's Massachusetts, but still.
It's not really the United States. Oh,
it once was.
It once was. It used to be. Actually, the United States of America used to be the cradle of liberty. Massachusetts used to be the cradle of liberty in America, but no longer. So, well, what happened? So these kids, and I mean, when you look at these kids, they look like little kids. Well, not little kids, but I mean, they're like young teenager kids. They're not all dressed in black like some kind of trench coat mafia. They're not all gothed up. They don't have skulls on them. The little girl has her little dress on, and the boy has his little suit on with his little tie and so forth. And if you saw them walking down the street, you'd probably be like, oh, what nice little teens these guys are. Well, they posted these pictures, and the news broke that these pictures were out there, and they were very concerned, very, very concerned. Let's see who was very concerned. Let me see. It was and Jared, I want you to pull a quote from this story. You got it open over there?
Yeah, I got it open.
Okay, well, it's I think it's at 50, right at 50 seconds. We got the quote from the school superintendent here, who was he was aghast and beside himself that these kids would do this. You want to go ahead and drop his quote in there, and then we'll talk about him?
Yeah, I want you to talk for a little bit, though.
Okay, well, I can talk for a little bit. I can do that. So essentially, what do we have here? Well, we have two kids who, even in Massachusetts, I know you're like, oh, it's Massachusetts. It's probably illegal for them to even look at a gun or, think about guns. But even in Massachusetts, apparently it is legal to own toy guns that shoot plastic BBs. Now, I'm guessing that as we speak these words, that there's some type of legislation working its way through the Massachusetts Parliament there to make airsoft guns illegal, or maybe you're only allowed to have them if they're bright orange or yellow or pink or something like that. Because let's face it, it doesn't matter that they're not real, that they're not actual firearms. They look like actual firearms, and that's scary. Well, and the guns that these kids are holding are replicas of, one of them is I think it's an FS90, and it looks like it's got an EOTech on it and a suppressor and all that. And then the other kid is holding something else. But if these guns were real, these kids would actually be holding like thousands of dollars worth of hardware in their hands. So, I mean, if you're 15, 16 years old and you can afford an FS90 and an EOTech and a suppressor, you're doing well. You're doing well. Most teenage puke faces that do these, these murders and killings, they don't do it with such high-tech Call of Duty type weaponry here. But the pictures got out there, and in typical Massachusetts style, they freaked out. Well, not only did they freak out, but apparently it wasn't just, we saw the pictures and we're going to suspend you. Oh, no, 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 no. No, what happened was the pictures got out there, and then these kids, they physically took them at a school event. It was at a cross-country meet. They took them into an empty room and searched everything they had, including my bag, says Velez, who was the boy, right? Is that correct? Velez is the boy?
Yes, Velez is the boy.
Okay, so, all right, it's Jamie and Tito. All right. A couple of nice, seemingly nice young kids here, but we can't have nice young kids because these kids like guns. They like things that look like guns, and that's scary, and we can't have that. You got the audio for me there, buddy?
Yeah, I got it. I'm going to cue it up right now.
All right, go ahead and play it.
Trying to be provocative.
The superintendent of the Bristol Plymouth Regional Tech School says his problem comes not with the guns. He defends free speech, but says he has a problem with the caption below the photo that reads Homecoming 2014.
When you tie that to a school event, that's something to be concerned about.
School officials say the Dance Friday was uneventful, but people Monday in school were fearful, and parents concerned causing disruption.
It's fake, but it looks real. And I don't know, it's just kind of scary, especially since everything that's going on in schools right now.
Jamie and Tito defend themselves, saying they often play with pellet guns with friends at local fields, and say the photo was taken by Velez's dad at their home on private property.
Okay. So we got a picture of two little kids, two teenagers, posted on Facebook. And the little girl, it was a little girl's photo, I'm guessing. And she they're all dressed up nice for homecoming. And they had the plastic airsoft guns in the pictures. And then they're like, well, nothing happened at the dance. And they didn't do anything wrong. And they're not even suspected of doing anything wrong. But what? But it's scary. And then what gets me is they say many parents were upset. And what do, Jared? They say many parents are upset, and they drop in a clip where they interviewed a little high school girl. And she's like, well, it's just scary. It's just scary. Why is it scary? Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid of guns? Because I live in Massachusetts, and they've taught me that I need to be afraid of guns, and guns are bad. With all that's going on. Yeah, with all that's going on in America. Yeah, with all that's going on in America, you need to be afraid of guns because guns are bad. Anyone who likes guns, holds guns, thinks about guns, draws pictures of guns is bad, and we need to be afraid of them. And when it first came out, okay, and yeah, these kids, were held without parental consent. They were taken separately. All their stuff was searched, right, by school officials and police. And then they were suspended for 10 days. Because why? Because what did they do? Oh, it was provocative. If you see the picture, and Jared will put it up on there, it didn't look provocative to me. They weren't pointing the guns at the camera. They actually had their fingers off the triggers, amazingly enough, because apparently these kids know that your booger hook doesn't go on the curvy thing, the bang switch. Jared, what do you think? You're over there. You're looking pensive.
I usually try not to think because it hurts my brain, especially about this kind of stuff. Because, in the superintendent, for instance, if you tie this kind of stuff to a school event, what does that even? What do you mean? You can't have air? Didn't they used to shoot in school?
Well, yeah, they actually used to teach.
Well, I know we had
safety
archery
in school, but no. Well, not only that, but he says he defends free speech. However, I love that. It might as well have said, but he defends free speech. But
oh yeah, because speaking of which, I've gotten a couple emails from people and said, one guy said,
in addition to,
yeah, he said something about the audio levels. He's like, I can't wait for the radio show every week, and in addition to that,
I need you to fix
your audio level. So if you're listening right now, and I want you to tell me that my audio level is fixed because it sounds good to me.
Well, yeah, he defends free speech, but folks, I hate to break your heart here, but here's what I'm going to tell you. The First Amendment and free speech and all that, it's not there to defend speech that everyone agrees with. What? No, the First Amendment is actually there to defend quote-unquote controversial speech. It's there to defend speech that not everyone agrees with. Well, I defend free speech, but when you do something controversial or provocative, that's when we need to draw the line. No, dummy. Superintendent, I'm assuming you went to school there, Mr. Gross. I'm assuming you attended some college somewhere, and they taught you in that college that the First Amendment is in place until the speech becomes controversial or provocative, and then when the speech becomes provocative, then we have to shut it down. Then we don't have free speech, idiot. Am I allowed to say that, Jared? Am I allowed to say idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to shut down the speech or the actions that you find controversial or provocative, that's when you shut them down. Then you don't have free speech, moron. Free speech is not everyone agrees with everything that everyone else says. Well, you can have free speech until I get offended. And then once I'm offended, then your free speech rights no longer apply. It's a bunch of crap. And what they're doing is they're backpedaling again like they always do when they're caught doing something stupid. Oh, it's not because we don't like guns. That's not it at all. It's because she typed the words Homecoming 2014 into her Facebook photo. I'm sorry, what now? Oh, that tied it into a school event. What now? What? Shut up! Folks, sorry. I'm tired of this crap, and I'm tired of you putting up with it. And you people up in Massachusetts, you know what? You're a bunch of freaking slaves. You live in a slave state. This is what you get. Stop acting surprised. And then well, we can understand this, both sides. Bull crap. Bull crap. I'm tired of it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We're coming up on 40 minutes already. It seems like it's been pretty fast this hour.
Really?
But,
wow.
Yeah, let's move on to this next. You want to do the next public school story, and that'll be the last
Before
one.
I go, though, before I let you go on this one, the whole Facebook thing, we talked about it before, but I'm going to say it one more time. The whole, well, see, this is why you don't. You know what? If you're afraid if you're afraid that your photos and your speech and things that you write and say are going to be used against you, that's a clue that you don't live in a free nation. That's a clue that you're a slave and you're living under tyranny. All right,
let's move on to the next public school retardation.
we're not going to do the Go Team thing. We'll save it till next time.
Yeah, we'll save. We'll stick with the public school theme this.
All right,
hour.
we'll stick with the public school theme. Oh, this one, Jared dropped this one in here. I had seen it, and essentially, it's just, the story's been around several different places. But students suspended over Pop-Tarts, but this is okay. Well, number one, the Pop-Tart thing is not okay. It's stupid. The using your finger guns, holding crayons, we don't agree with any of that. But it says Auburn School District in Washington State is now facing intense criticism for a decision that some see as both dangerous and hypocritical. Why? Has the Auburn School District suspended people for chewing Pop-Tarts into shapes of guns? Has the Auburn School District suspended people for making finger guns or holding a crayon like a gun? Or have they done that? So I don't know how it's hypocritical. But for allowing an elementary school boy of the Sikh faith to carry a dagger to school. We talked about this, Jared and I. Jared, did you and I talk about the Sikh? Or was it Zach?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. And you know what? Rock on. I think it's awesome. And, dude, I carried a pocket. Now, I wasn't necessarily supposed to, but when I went to high school, all the boys carried pocket knives. At West Holmes, pretty much everyone that lived, well, everywhere, had a pocket knife. I know I always did. And you know what I never did? My whole entire school career, I never stabbed anyone. But there was lots of stabbings in your school, right, Paul? Because every kid had a pocket knife. No. Actually, there was not one single stabbing incident my entire high school career in my school. Now, there may have been some when I was in Detroit, but why is that? Was it because of the availability or the lack of availability of the tools, or was it the mentality of the people who had the possession of the tools? If you grow monsters, if you grow your children into monsters with no morals, no self-control, no discipline, it doesn't matter how many things you make illegal. The monsters are always they're going to hit each other with clubs, or sharpened toothbrushes, or staplers, or something. The answer is not to ban objects. And you know what? I don't have a problem with this, Jared. I think it's awesome. I'm considering converting to the Sikh faith just so I can carry a cool dagger.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, my issue with this was now it says that she's a volunteer. I didn't see that. I don't think that was there when I saw the story last time.
Oh, this idiot woman who said I won't go there?
She's basing what the school should have as their policy off of what the TSA, who are obviously people of great moral value.
Yeah. We want to base everything we do off the TSA regs.
Yeah, she says they can't take that thing into the airport. TSA would be all over it. Why is the school any different? So she wants her schools to be like the TSA.
Oh,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's somebody whose advice you want to take. Somebody who thinks that we need TSA agents at the front doors of your local elementary school, high school, junior high. Yeah, that's what we want. You want, well, maybe they would, because we based upon what evidence, fact, recorded evidence. We know that the TSA likes to molest little children, put their hands down their pants and make them cry. So this might be right up the TSA's alley. That might be something that they want to do. And don't write me and say I have a brother or an uncle or a friend that works for the TSA and they're a great person. Save it. I'm sorry.
If they were a great person, they wouldn't work.
They wouldn't
for the
work
TSA.
for the Gestapo in blue, the blue polyester Gestapo. Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. And if you don't want to listen to me anymore, go listen to an NPR station. I'm not playing that game anymore.
All right, let's go ahead and close it out. We're coming up on 45 minutes here. On that note,
no, I'm not playing games anymore. I'm tired of this. I am 100% fed up and sick of it. Now, folks, if you're fed up and sick of it, like I am, you probably are sitting out there and you're frustrated, you're angry, you don't know what to do. You know you should be doing something, but you don't know what. You're like, I know I should be doing something. I feel like I need to do something more than vote. You know, if your entire plan as a patriot is to vote once every 2 years, where has that gotten us? It's gotten us to the point we are at today. I want you to go over to patriotfireteam.com. And for the investment of your first name and email address, that's the total investment, you can get the free report, How to Get Started. And find out if it's something for you. Find out if this may be a way or an outlet for you to establish a strong family, a strong community. Because strong families and strong communities are how you build nations. You don't start at the top and build down. You start from the bottom and you build up. And the Patriot Fire Team basically is an outline. Now, if you haven't been paying attention out there in the Student of the Gun land, you really should. But Jared has put together, we're kind of doing a, what do you call it, Jared, a launch, where we're letting people know that the Student of the Gun book, and it's called not Student of the Gun, Patriot Fire Team. Thank you for correcting me in your mind, Jared. He didn't even have to say anything. He just looked at me, and that was the correction I needed. Patriot Fire Team, Preserving the Republic 4 Men at a Time. The book is in final editing stages right now, and it's going to be available initially as an ebook because that's the fastest way we can get it into your hands. And then after it is an ebook, then it'll be available in paperback or in print version, should I say. So look for that very soon. Now, the bonus hour every week. Some of you guys out there aren't quite digging the bonus hour or how you get it or what you do. You're like, I went on to iTunes and I couldn't find your bonus hour. You know why? It's because the bonus hour is not on iTunes. The bonus hour is big boy and big girl time. And we can't really do the big boy, big girl time via iTunes. So what you do is you go to studentofthegunradio.com and you click on the little link that says Student of the Gun Radio Bonus Hour, and that takes you to where you need to go, and you can subscribe to it. A lot of you guys out there have subscribed, and I think you are enjoying it very much, aren't you, Jared? Aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. You guys send Jared lots of nice emails each week telling him how much you enjoyed and appreciated the bonus hour. If you're following our electronic media delivery system, Gumroad, you can go on there and check it out as well.
And it's nice. I mean, to be honest with you, it's depressing to bring all these stories to you guys because it just is.
We get all the decline of Western society.
Yeah, that's what it is, and then it really lifts us up when we get positive emails. I mean, we get plenty of negative, but the positive emails really make it worth it.
We don't get a lot of negative, But all right, folks, I'm going to let you go. Jared says he'd give me the rap finger. So make sure that you're watching the TV show every week on Dish Network Channel 266 on the Roku channel, Roku, Apple TV, Chromecast, Shentel HD cable, and download the mobile app. It's free. If you got an iPhone, if you got an Android phone, you can download the mobile app for free, for nothing. You're welcome. Don't forget about our buddies at Brownells Colt SWAT Fuel and Velocity Triggers. And we're going to be right back with part 2, so stand by.
What do we got coming up in part 2?
Part 2, we're going to talk about
pop music.
Pop music. Well, it says Reagan predicted it 50 years ago. And we're going to talk about Canadian slow learners.